Finnish brand Yamarin has long been famous for the generation of very capable small family day boats like this and weekend style day cruisers like those. What it's not been particularly famous for to this point is boats in this kind of sector. Now this is all new for Yamarin. It's designed to tread the line somewhere between the likes of Axopar and Targa. It's more than 5 feet longer than anything it's built before, and it's here making its world debut at the Düsseldorf Boat Show. This is the all-new Yamarin Aura Cabin. Now, as you can already probably tell, this is a Pilothouse boat with a symmetrical walk-around deck layout. Very practical indeed. And in order to make the very most of that, it's got a very generous beam of 11 feet. Pretty sizable for a 34-foot boat. When we get round to the back end, you absolutely see that. Pilothouse bang in the centre of the deck, as I say. Nice broad side decks on both sides. They work their way right round the foredeck, as we'll see in a second. Nice elevated gunnels as well for extra bit of security. And at the back end here, a very generous Fistful of Power. This is the top rated rig. This is a pair of 350s. You can go for a pair of 250s, which should get you to around about 40 knots. But apparently with these 350s, you can expect around about 47. You can go for 300s as well for something in the middle. But 47 knots is certainly a very significant amount of pace. That's not to say, of course, that this is all about performance. It doesn't have a stepped hull. That's part of Yamarin's approach. It wants its new boat to be every bit as user-friendly, as family-friendly as the smaller boats lower down the range. So it's a traditional deep V hull with a pretty generous beam. And what it's going for is not outright pace, as I say. It's more to do with good, safe, comfy, predictable, efficient cruising around about the 30-knot mark. But let's step on board now. As you can see, we've got really good sizable swim platforms on either side of this twin rig, and that of course is a consequence of that generous beam as well. Shore power in the centre here, and a little seating unit at the back end as we step up and back down into this cockpit. What we have here is a seat that you just pull up into position, a nice bench seat. And that's interchangeable. You can swap that instead for a wet bar, the transverse wet bar, in which case we do away with that optional wet bar on the port side of the saloon. But it's actually quite an attractive and quite a sociable space, in spite of the fact that this is quite a short cockpit. Most of the length is given over to other things. Well, if we look inside the saloon itself, you're greeted with a pair of settees, one on either side. And you can, if I shift a couple of cushions, lift up this backrest, get that out of the way, so you can sit there and face aft towards this bench. And to make that better, there's also an additional module, an optional module. You can sit it in here with the doors closed, so you can create a U-shaped seating section facing forward, or you can sit it further forward facing aft to create a U-shape that faces back towards this bench with a table that straddles this threshold. Now obviously on some boats you'll see single level decks and no threshold at all getting in your way. There's a significant one here, and that's apparently structural, so there's not a lot can be done about that. But as you can see, there's certainly plenty of versatility there. And if you opt for the infills as well, you can turn this into a lovely big sun pad too. But before we get into the saloon itself, let's just take a little walk forward along these side decks. And as we do so, it's worth noting we've got a starboard side gate there, up a little step. And you can plant your hand on the rim of this roof structure all the way forward to the very front end. So that's very secure. And as you can see, if I turn the camera around, this gunnel does come right up towards my hip, so that's lovely and safe with a good sturdy stainless steel grabbing point. Lovely big opening door there by the skipper's position. And again, we'll look at that in a second. Another couple of steps up to the foredeck, and when we get here, well, like the cockpit, it's relatively short to allocate just a bit more space to that saloon. It is, after all, just a 34-foot boat, so the island sunbed itself is less than 5 foot at the most, I would say. You'd tend to expect maybe 6, but we do get nice walk-around decks as intimated, so very safe and easy to navigate. Elevated rails and a step-through forepeak, which is very often what you tend to get on these Nordic boats. So very practical in that regard. And that screen is quite something. As you can see, one piece, curved right round the sides there, structural of course, and quite distinctive, gives this boat a very singular look. Let's make our way back down the port side deck towards the back end and step into that saloon. Now, as I say, really sociable at the back end, very configurable. So quite a hard working space, and they made very best use of that with wide opening structures on both sides. So you can open this entire aft end up or the forward end, a pair of huge sliding doors. I've questioned them about this backrest to find out whether that is going to be removable at any stage, so you can sit outboard facing the sea with your feet in that side deck. And they're considering the idea, so at some stage maybe that will happen. And it's the same deal with this starboard side. This doesn't open up fully. This aft panel is fixed, so looking into whether that can be removed and mimic the port side. But as I say, tremendously open, particularly as we've got a pair of glass panels up above. A fixed one here, and as standard, another fixed one forward, but this is the optional sliding sunroof, just for a bit more light and ventilation. And there's no blinds here, but these are quite substantially tinted to see off the worst of the sun. And this is the optional wet bar that we've got just here, just a little electric hob. And I think we've got, yeah, a little sink there, plus a bit of storage down below, and an optional fridge to supplement that beneath the skipper's bench. So let's take a little look at the helm position now. Equipped with bolsters, and there's adjustability fore and aft there as well. And if we turn around and look at the dash, well, it's nicely arranged. There's a beautiful wheel there. That again is adjustable. We've got the Helm Master EX system here from Yamaha, which is very practical indeed, plus the remote as well, so you can stroll around the boat while you're parking it up. A little bit of switch gear, but as you'd expect, most of it's digital now. We've got a standard 16-inch plotter and the optional second plotter there as well, plus a little bit of space up top. Again, very much in the style of a traditional offshore Pilothouse cruiser from the likes of Sargo or Targa. There's some additional gear there just to clean up that dash. And with this enormous aperture here, right next to the skipper, so you can straddle this space into the side deck and operate that joystick. It's very practical indeed for the single-handed skipper. But let's step down below, because as I say, this is a particularly beamy hull with a decent bit of forward elevation thanks to those steps and that island sunbed. Yeah, we got walk-around decks, but I'm expecting something quite decent. And there's a step down in here. I absolutely get that. As you can see, we've got a little bit of seating on the port side there. It leads forward to a lounge setup, which just extends around to the starboard side ahead of the heads compartment. So you can sit 4 or 5 people in here. And because we've got enormous hull windows, really long, decent depth too, it's actually quite practical to come down here when the weather's a bit nasty, up top if you just want to separate yourself from your kids. It's a nice spot to do it, not just a sleeping zone. And when you do want to sleep, well, that's neatly done. If I shift all these cushions, you'll see that what we basically have here is a big cushioned lump in that forepeak. And that makes good sense from a lounge perspective, because this is the point where the deck head dips, so you wouldn't be able to sit up there anyway. If I just grab this little handle and pull it, it slots down into this space. And with a little whack, there you are. You have your double bed ready to go. It's a pretty effective solution. You know, there's no spare bits to rattle about or cause noise underway or fill up your storage spaces. And actually, if I get that back out of there and move forward, or when it's been used as a lounge, as you can see, you get a lovely little spot ahead of that just to dump all your bedding ready for the next night without cluttering up your day space. So I quite like that as a solution, I've got to say. Not seen it before, and I appreciate the ingenuity. But that's not all, of course. We also have a heads compartment on the starboard side. If you open that up, you'll see that there's a decent bit of headroom for me to access it. I'll spin the camera around, even when I'm standing in here. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of up against the deck head, but I'm a 6-footer, so that's not bad at all on a boat of this scale. And what it provides is a little sink here with a cover, the option of a shower fitting underneath, just there as you can see, plus an electric toilet, another decent window, and a little bit of mirror, plus a panel to access the gear on the back of the dash there. Everything you need, nothing you don't. And we're still not finished, because if we bend down and look beneath that saloon deck, where we've got another bed for 2 people. probably designed more for kids than adults, but I've climbed in there myself and there's plenty of space for a couple of adults, no problem at all. No windows, of course, because these aren't the sides of the boat. This sits central, and outboard of these panels you've got little engineering spaces with easy access should you need it. So nothing in the way of natural light, but plenty in the way of space. Subject to a few minor tweaks and refinements then, I reckon this new Yamarin Aura Cabin is going to hit the mark for a lot of people. There's plenty of lovely sheltered day space that you can open up and enjoy as al fresco space if you choose. There's lots of capacity for family cruising, and with the option of twin 350s for 47 knot performance, there's plenty of pace and entertainment on tap too. Now, if you're as excited by this boat as we are, please do leave your comments in the section below. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future, then make sure you subscribe to the Motorboat and Yachting channel.